those who are new to the category, you can basically only use Mario, and you're not allowed to use any permanent items. You can use temporary ones like the double cherry, the mega mushroom, and the star, and of course headgear as well. But you aren't able to use any permanent ones. So without further ado, now I'm on the stream on my iPad. I will begin the stream. So right, without further ado. Right, this wasn't happening before. Right, is it right now? Right, this is very odd. Of course I have technological difficulties now. Right, let's close this. It's fine, I had this on my any percent PB as well. I just have to wing it for a bit. Oh god. That is great. Right, take 2. Open with. Right, is this working now? Right, let's restart. So, let's have a look at the stream. Right, sorry again, guys. Bit of a shaky start, but again, as I was saying, yeah, I don't know. I can't really catch a break with this, but as I was saying, today we're going to be doing a segmented stream of 3D World Mario Percent, and we'll start it again. Hopefully we don't get any technical difficulties. Right, starting the timer a bit late again. Right, let's just make sure it's running fine first of all. Gosh, is it running? Right, I just haven't had the chance to check yet. Right, take 2. How's it now? Yeah, it seems to be running fine. Sorry about the shaky start. I mean, I did a test run like a few days ago and it was absolutely fine. But of course, on the actual day, there's some mistakes. But no, that's now we can get going. I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank 3 people first of all who really made this run possible. So my 2 friends Yash and Sparsh, who helped me in the touchscreen sections and some of the more difficult levels. Without them, I really would have lost a lot of time on some of those levels. And of course, the biggest thanks goes to Yandima 211. Of course, he's the any percent world record holder. And despite him doing a segmented speedrun of his own, he still took some of his time out to help me with 1-5, in which he gave me a really good segment for that. So thank you for that. And yeah. So yeah, I'll try to follow along with chat. I also want to thank Jordan and Luigi Master as well. You've sort of been there since for all my Mario Percent runs, and you've been very supportive as well for the last 2 weeks. And also to the 3D World community as a whole. Again, you guys have shown me amazing support the last few weeks and have really motivated me to continue this run, especially the likes of Hex as well. You've been very supportive among them. But we are going to get into the run, and just a few notes. I've spliced out the saves to make it more realistic compared to what you'll be running on the Wii U. So, of course, save skips in this category, I think, save 2 minutes 38 seconds. And yeah, without further ado, let's start the run. So, again, you can see initially we do a roll jump into 2 long jumps, and then we can start bunny hopping, which is the fastest mode of travel apart from crouch jumps, which I don't really utilize a lot in this run. So that's probably one thing I could do to make it slightly faster, but I do use stuff like ice glitch, as you'll see later on. But yeah, starting off with 1-1, and I think just another thing to note, whilst I won't be comparing to the world record splits, towards the end of the run, you can probably note that the world record is a 2:12:21 by a Drillick. So that's something to bear in mind towards the end of the run. But as we approach our first split, it's a 2:42, which I know for a fact is a long way ahead of my best split so far. But I've only done about 5 runs of this category. So yeah, I'll try to keep up with chat as much as possible. And yeah, I think it's a lot of people's first time seeing Mario Percent Ollie. It's not really a widely run category, but hopefully I can help dispel a few myths about the category and show it's actually quite fun once you get into it. I'm definitely not going to say it's as fun or as impressive as any percent, but hopefully I can hopefully this can impress a few people. So before this as well, I asked a few of you to guess what the final time is. I will try to keep it secret towards the until the end of the run. I can't really give a big reward to the person who got the closest, but I said I'll pin the comment if you do make a comment. Whoever got the closest, I'll make sure their comment is pinned at the end of the video. So without further ado, we're heading into 1-2. One thing I want to mention about 1-2 is you can take a warp pipe even in this category, which normally requires a catsuit, but I chose to not do it in this run. First and foremost because the world record didn't take that route, and also because this route is actually a lot more fun because there's, we don't have to collect as many stars later on in the run, and it allows me to do a lot more skips. And I only think the warp pipe saves a few minutes, or 1 or 2 minutes at most. But if this gains enough traction, then I'll definitely look into making another one with the warp pipe. So yeah, heading into 1-A now. We've had quite a good start to the run in my opinion. Yeah, hello everyone. Wow, already over 10 viewers. That's great. Hi Akram, Harshal and Sparsh, and of course everyone else as well. But yeah, we're heading into 1-A now, and this is quite an easy level. I forgot to actually split in 1-2, which is a great start, but I'll make sure I don't forget anymore. So yeah, 444 after 1-A. So heading into 1-3 now. So again, this is the first level I sort of needed a hand on, because I go for star 2 here, which in hindsight could be a slightly slower star than maybe some of the other ones I missed out. But my friend Yash was able to help me pick up some of the coins in star 2, making it a lot faster. And yeah, just another disclaimer, this is on a I've done this on Semu, the emulator as well. From what I am aware of, the load time should be the same as console, and I've been splicing out the saves as well to make it as accurate as possible. So yeah, hopefully it's true to form. But yeah, as we go into the second star, you can see definitely a helping hand there with the touchscreen, and as a result, we're able to get that quite a lot quicker than I would have been able to get it by myself. So yeah. So again, this is a lot cleaner than all of my runs of this category so far. But yeah, just making, this is quite a hard level to get right in terms of, especially without items, because you can't really climb on as much stuff. But as long as you make the jumps, you can get it quite well. And we're going to end on what will be a 430, so just about avoiding fireworks. And yeah, it's going to be another good split. So yeah, coming up next is 1-5. So as I mentioned at the beginning, 1-5 wouldn't have been possible without the help of Yandima, the 80% world record holder. I did have a run on 1-5, but my emulator was lagging quite a lot on there. And luckily, Yandima stepped up to the plate and offered me a really good run here. So I can't wait to show you this segment. And yeah, yeah, guys, don't ban me for splicing runs. I have put it in the title, but yeah. So yeah, we're moving on to the run. You can see the touchscreen just able to click all of them so quickly. And yeah, this was truly a remarkable segment. So thank you again, Yandima, for this. I can't really fault it. It's so fast that I think entering the warp box, it's tied with my best individual level without items, and he picked up the star as well. So great stuff there. As yeah, you can see already gaining a lot of time with the touchscreen. But yeah, again, just hoping to try to save as much time over world record as possible. I was initially going to compare to the world record splits, but I think Yandima again had a good idea to just keep the splits blank, and that way you sort of don't know what the time is until the end. And yeah, we'll see how far this category can be pushed. So again, yeah, just using long jumps to get the star in the middle, and we're going to finish the run on what will be a 3-2-4, which is a lot better than I was able to do. I think the best I was able to do was a 3-1-5. So thanks again for that. As we split 749 at the 1-5 split. So just for context, I think towards the end of World 1, I think my best split is a 12:59, and the world record split is a 12:52. So it's something to note when we finish the Bowser fight. If you want to compare where we are to world records. But again, just basically being able to do it in segments and just splice them together is really it really made my job a lot easier. Because I could really go for speed over over consistency here. So yeah, without further ado, going into 1- Captain Toad, which is quite a nice level for me. I've always quite liked this level, and although the cycle's a bit different here because we had to go through the text at the beginning, we're still able to do a route which guarantees a 30 on a good run. So not losing too much time to what I would do in an IL. And yeah, sure enough, getting a 30 there. And splitting at 8:59, so just under 9 minutes for the 1- Toad split. What, Boo got an early 29 on the any percent route? Well, fine, that shows one place it can be improved on already. But yeah, again, I'm not going to claim that these splits are perfect. I mean, towards the end of the run, I mean, there definitely were some split time I can gain. So again, if I go over this again, I could probably knock a bit of time off. But I think for a first attempt, and after only 3 weeks on it, I think this run was all right. And I mean, hopefully I can persuade you guys towards the end. But yeah, entering 1- Castle here. I think Sparge had to help me out on this level a bit here, because the first star sort of requires some coin collects, and you can see he can just pick them up with the touchscreen, and as a result, able to get the star really quickly, and yeah, we can just progress with the level. So again, you'll see me doing long jumps and then transitioning into bunny hops. So once I do about 4 long jumps or so, I'm able to transition into bunny hops with sort of the full speed. And that's what I sort of want to be capitalizing on as much as possible in this run, because it is slightly faster than to just long jump throughout, and it's probably a bit more accurate as well. Of course, preferably I would be using crouch jumps as well, but again, I don't think they save too much time in these sort of tight sections, and yeah, I'm not too confident with them anyway, but I think still this was a good run regardless. As we head on to the fight, Sparsh actually had a really good method of doing this fight, which I sort of been using since he did this. So he would hold the sort of top right parts of the car, and that way he was able to basically fling the ball back at Bowser as soon as he fired it. I know you guys have a similar trick among the wheel rims, but I haven't missed a single throw with this. So I preach by it, so thanks Sparsh for that. And yeah, I mean, hopefully this stream's going fine. As we defeat Bowser, and we're going to end the World 1 split soon, and you can see just passing the 11-minute mark, so we should be well clear of the 13-minute mark, which both my best run of the category and Adrillic's world records were. But yeah, you can see, yeah, again, quite a good run here. I think one thing I can improve on this level was I have thought of maybe going for a spin jump for the second star, because I actually rolled into a ball and knocked down the Goomba Tower and then collected it like that. But I think it might be ever so slightly faster to do a spin jump and collect it. But again, I collected a timer as well, which I didn't realize at the time, but Yandima also says loses a bit of time as well. So I've done that a few times this run, but I think at most it loses about 0.3 each time. But splitting World 1 on 11:40, so over a minute ahead of world record already, which is a good start. And yeah, I'm streaming with a what am I streaming with? Yeah, it's Nvidia Shadowplay, I think. So it's the inbuilt one for Nvidia graphics cards. So hopefully it's going all right for now. And yeah, that's World 1 done. I think, yeah, World 1 and 2, because they're quite easy, I was really able to optimize it. Yeah, 3-1 and 6-5 should be quite good, Hex. I did actually use the ice glitch. I normally try to refrain from glitches, but ice glitch just saves so much time that I sort of had to use it. So for people who don't run this game, what ice glitch is if you're on ice, you'll see me do it closer to the time on 3-1, but if you rapidly crouch on ice, you can build up exponential speed, and it's really nuts the speed you can gain. Yeah, we head on to 2-1 now, beginning World 2, and yeah, so far so good. Again, as I was saying, even in my normal runs of this category, the first 2 worlds aren't normally too much of an issue. It sort of really amps up in difficulty towards the end. But I think the other thing you need to really bear in mind in this run is the most important thing throughout the run is the star count, because I need to collect 170 stars before I go into the final boss fight with Bowser. And of course, whilst in any percent, you can pretty much collect any star you want. there are a lot of stars which you aren't able to get to without a catsuit or another item. So I need to really choose the route wisely. And that's the other reason I didn't really go for a warp in 1-2, because it really restricts the route. And I think there's only 1 or 2 backup stars if you do go for that. And you'll see towards the end, I'm able to skip stars and save a lot of time. Whereas if I did the warp, I wouldn't be able to save that time. So splitting on 2-1, another quite solid level. And yeah. So a little glitchy, not too noticeable. Okay, fine. As long as it's, I mean, I hope it's doing fine. But as we head on to 2-3, I actually had a little I found something quite interesting on 2-3, which is only a little time save, but I thought it looked quite cool as well. So hopefully I can share it with you. And yeah, we're just skipping through the menus. Yeah, sorry I didn't use Spanish or Italian, which would have made the menus slightly faster as well. But as we head on to 2-3, we're going to actually pick up this piranha plant at the start, and we're going to be able to bunny hop still, and we're going to basically get the piranha plant to eat the star. And I found this was actually about 0.5 quicker, and I think it just looked cool as well. So yeah, of course, being a segmented run, I'm able to do stuff I wouldn't normally do in RTA. So you'll see me go for some crazy tricks. I think 3-7 is definitely one of the ones to watch in terms of death-defying tricks. But as we go through the door, we haven't actually lost too much time to even my IL of this level, using the well, blowing into the screen in order to get rid of the blobs there. Just a lot easier than what I used to do, which is I used to use the touch screen there. But yeah, again, this is quite similar to of course, until we sort of get a bit later on, we're doing similar star collects to the any percent route. Of course, I think we have missed a few stars already, like the first star of 2-1, but I don't think you can get to it without catsuit. Even so, I did discover throughout making this, there are a few stars which I initially thought were impossible to get, which with a lot of hard work you can actually get to. So you'll see that a bit later as well. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, I didn't incorporate too many edge crouches, so I'm not quite Sunji yet. But as I'm progressing, I'm trying to incorporate more and more edge crouches. Which, again, another thing about this game, which well, actually, ironically, we're heading into the one stage which is going to probably demonstrate this the best, 2-4. You can really conserve speed when you're doing jumps. And you'll see here, we're going to basically land right at the edge of the hill. And that gives us a huge influx of speed. And by basically just bunny hopping to the warp pipe, we're able to keep all of that speed and enter on a 482, which is a lot faster than what we normally could. And the good thing about 2-4, as you can see on my splits on the left, I'm only collecting 1 star here. And we have quite a shabby purple brick section there, but the 1 star really isn't out of the way. So I can pretty much treat this like an IL. Which, considering I mostly do ILs or individual levels, I was definitely quite comfortable doing this. And sure enough, we get a 458, which is only about 3 seconds off what I do in my individual levels. As we split again, but yeah, we'll see as we head on to 2- Mystery House now. On the any percent route, this is probably one of the easiest levels, but for me, this took a long time to get right because whilst Katsu can basically just scratch the enemies to take them down, yeah, you can't really do that with Mario and without Katsu. So, and yeah, Ole, you're right. With Katsu, you can do a lot of crazy stuff. So, if you do want to see a Katsu run, I'll definitely point you in the direction of Yandima's world records or King Boo's old world record, because both of them demonstrate sort of the limits of cat momentum, really. They really extrapolate as much as they can out of it. So, as we head on to the Mystery House, again, having to jump on the enemies, which is a bit more tedious than having to scratch them. Especially on star 3 and 4. Again, taking a tiny bit longer there with Katsu. This was the most annoying one. Having to basically line myself dead in the center in order to take them, well, do it in 2 steps instead of 3 or 4. And yeah, clearing up 2- Mystery House. And yeah, I felt that went quite well as well. As we now head into 2-A. So going into 2-A, I actually thought the fastest time you could get without Rosalina and without items was a 193. But I managed to find a different route, which was able to make 194 possible, as you'll see here. And yeah. Oh, nice. How did it go, Brandy? The no power up run of 1-1. As we're going to split for 2-A now. 18-17. So, again, a 6-second time there, which is only one off the world record for that stage. So, not bad. And, of course, by taking out that first Goomba, I was able to ground pound the other two. And, yeah, do it faster than what I was normally doing. So, yeah, now heading on to 2-5. And you'll see me pick up the double cherry here. The double cherry is allowed in Mario Percent, as I said at the beginning. So this, the star, and the mega mushroom, which I don't actually use throughout the run, are the only 3 items allowed because they're temporary items. At the end of the stage, you lose the item. So I am allowed to use them, and also that applies to headgear and footwear as well, like the cannon box and stuff like that. And you'll see that used in a few levels later on. But again, 2-5, quite hard to navigate the sort of vertical section here. But again, I probably could have improved that a bit by holding down the fire bro at the end and jumping off him, because I've actually done that in individual levels recently, and it saved me a second or two. But again, quite a respectable time. Another thing I sort of alluded to at the beginning of the stream, for the people who are new to this game, if the timer ends on a 1, 3, or 6, you get fireworks, which slows you down by 1.2 or 1.3 seconds real time, which, considering that each in-game second is like 0.75 seconds, you really want to make sure you avoid landing on a 1, 3, and 6. And unfortunately, I think I did have a few fireworks this run, but they were few and far between as we head into 2-Castle. Yeah. So again, clearing up World 2. Yeah, hi Abrup. And yeah, this is the first auto-scroll of the run, so not too exciting. I was just doing some spin jumps and mucking around, really. Because this is all you can really do during the thing. So here, originally I picked up a secret mushroom here, because I was under the impression initially that mushrooms were allowed in the category. However, Yandima did clear up with me as I was editing this, that you aren't actually allowed regular mushrooms. So I will ceremoniously discard it later on in the run, and I won't use it, so don't worry. To make sure this is true to the category. As we yeah, just muck around here. We get a cannon box, which, as I said before, because it's only temporary and you lose it at the end of the stage, it is allowed. And it's really important here, because without it, the last star is impossible to get. And as I was saying, there's not too many stars I can afford to lose in this category, because I can only reach an X amount of stars. So as a result, I have to make sure every star matters here. So yeah, keeping the cannon box and trying not to lose it. Yeah, I don't think many people like this level, apart from Luigi Master. He sort of got me to do quite a lot of runs of this, but yeah, still, it gives you a chance to, I think, relax for a bit, because it's quite hard to screw up an auto-scroller. Apart from 6-Castle, I've managed to screw that up a lot of times. Yeah, we're not doing credit warp splash. And yeah, we're not doing warp pipes either, for that matter. Yeah, that'll be great to get this game into GDQ. Definitely raise more awareness, because it's definitely a great game and underappreciated. But yeah, it's definitely got more life in it than ever before, which is great. As we head into the Boom Boom fight, again clearing up World 2, and I can't remember the exact splits of my time on world record, because I'm not comparing against them. But again, I think we're well over 2 minutes ahead at this point. But of course, you'll see the final time at the end in comparison to the 2:12 world record. But yeah, true. Luigi Master does like Fuzzy Time Mine, which is another auto scroller. But yeah. So yeah, as we end the level, I accidentally did pick up a timer again, which would lose me a tiny bit of time. I was able to get 313s on this level, but unfortunately, because 313s give you fireworks, I had to settle for a 312. And I think a 314 is definitely probably possible if you get a really good Boom Boom fight and a 363 entry into the main pipe. But again, not a bad 2-Castle. And now we're heading on to Hex's favourite level, 3-1, and you'll see why in a second. This level is completely bonkers. I wasn't able to do it as well as Yandima does in his any percent runs, but like with Katsu, you're able to conserve so much speed, it's ridiculous. But I do I do use ice glitch here, which does save a lot of time on this level, and I combine that with a propeller box as well, so I can cover the big gaps. So yeah, without further ado, you're about to see what is probably the most broken level of this category, and probably the game in general, which is 3-1. So yeah, as we enter 3-1, again, it's important here to pick up all 3 stars as well, but you can see on my splits on the left, trying to pick up as many stars as possible in these levels. So most of them do show over 2 or 3, but because the more I pick up now, the more I can skip later on. As we get the star first time, we sort of have quite a slow long jump there, but we get enough ice glitch speed to cover the gap. And I'm definitely not as good at ice glitch as some of the other runners, and I do sort of make a bit of a fluff there, but still we're going to use a bit of ice glitch again, just to give us a bit of momentum to the star. And yes, sorry Hex, I wasn't able to conserve the ice glitch throughout the level, like you can with Catsuit, but I was able to use it in some places, and as a result, we get a 3-5-5, and as we split again, 24-26. So yeah, as we head on to 3-3 now, which I've got a lot of stick on for the past, because I've said publicly that this is my favourite level, and I don't think many people like this level. But no, I definitely think it's a good level, and I've got a lot of runs on this as well, so I was able to put in quite a good segment in my opinion, which I'm about to show you. But although it is one of my favourite segments, I did completely fluff it in my last run of the category, and I think I missed both stars 1 and 3. So of course, as it's a segmented run, there's no chance of me missing stars or dying, which is always a positive. You can see here, I just played it safe with the star. I wouldn't use this in normal runs, but I used an auto clicker to basically hold down the room and just allow me to focus on doing a spin jump. So again, you can sort of add it being a slight tool assisted run as well. But again, this is just going to be a demonstration of what this category can become. Of course, just as well as being a segmented run. But as you can see, we do stairs, and I can assure you, these stairs are much harder than they look. And we get probably the second best stairs I've ever got on this level. Second only to my 60 seconds IL of this level with Toad. And yeah, I was really lucky there, because sometimes it can take hundreds of attempts to get a staircase without any bonks. And although I sort of fluffed the end of the level a bit, I definitely kept this segment in because I had such a good stair sequence there. Hey Preston, nice of you to join us. So yeah, as we can see, they're collecting the last star, and I think I was talking to Yandima as well and Luigi Master. They were able to get, I think, between them a 4-3-2 segment on this level, which is absolutely crazy. Obviously, getting all 3 stars, but due to having to, like, you know, ride the chair up to the 3rd star and having to use a spin jump to get on top of the bookshelf, and instead of just, you know, climbing it or opening it with Catsuit, I do lose a bit of time to them. But still, I think a good segment there. Hi Ash, nice of you to join us as well. Yeah, as we head on to 3- Captain Toad here, another Captain Toad level. Another Captain Toad level. So again, I really like these sort of levels. So I was able to put a good split there. So yeah, I mean, so far so good. I mean, up until like World 4 or 5, it doesn't really get too hard. So I was able to really spend a lot of time optimizing these first splits. So yeah, as we head into 3- Captain Toad, again, making sure to pick up all 5 stars here, of course. And yeah, I mean, so far, so good in terms of the run. So, I think, yeah, as we head on forward into this stream, I mean, there's definitely a few exciting levels coming up, notably, I think, 3-7. And there's a few other levels later on, which I definitely do some interesting tricks on. But for now, it's just mostly just getting as much bunny hops as I can, as much long jumps as I can, and just making sure the movement's quite sound. And then, yeah, the tricks come a bit later on. So, as a result, it's really important I collect all the stars I can at the beginning. And getting a little damage boost there from the rammer heads. I think whilst it doesn't lose any in-game time, it does lose a bit of actual time. So it is worth trying to avoid it, but I'm not sure if you can avoid it on that cycle. So, yeah. Yeah, I know, unfortunately, Captain Toad isn't Mario, but yeah, it is allowed in the category, of course, because... And otherwise, I don't think we would have enough stars to complete it, because I think Captain Toad amasses over 20 stars for the category, and I can tell you for a fact that even if I went for extra levels, I don't think I'll be able to recoup the 20 stars. But yeah, you are right. Captain Toad isn't Mario. But yeah, every other level is just using Mario, I can assure you that. There's 3-4, one of the shortest levels in the game. And we're just going to collect stars 1 and 2 here, a bit like the any % route, because star 3 is a bit long. And yeah, just tidying it up for a 77, avoiding fireworks again. And yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's definitely a far way off cat momentum speed and catsuit speed. But yeah, you can get some good movement in Mario Percent. Like, if you do bunny hops, and even if you angle bunny hops as well, you can get some really good speed. It's almost as fast as doing regular cat dives, I think. So it definitely, if done right, it isn't exactly a slow category. As I missplit 3-4 again. It's the second time I've done that. I'll try not to do it for the rest. You can see here, getting 8 seconds, which is my best. I think it's the best you can get with without Rosalina, without items. So yeah, see you, Glock. Thank you for tuning into the beginning of the stream. But yeah, again, thank you so much, guys. I mean, I didn't expect 14 people to tune into a Mario Percent run, but again, hopefully this can sort of show that this is slightly more than a meme category. As you can see again, yeah, I think some of the splices are somewhat obvious because I have to, well, because I'm splicing up the saves. You can probably see some changes in the overworld, but on the whole, I thought the splices were alright. Just a bit of audio desync, I think, but I think I made sure it basically frame perfectly flowed into a run, so the time you get at the end should be the actual time. But yeah. But yeah, again, I really like 3-5 because also I forgot to split the 3-A as well. Gosh. But yeah, I really like 3-5 and water levels in general because, again, just moving with Mario is as fast as moving in Katsu through the water, so I don't really lose any time there. And originally I went for all 3 stars here because there's a cannon box above the Cheep Cheeps here, but the world record route didn't use it, and because I found a way to save a few stars later on, I decided to skip it as well. So I'm going to take the any % route here and only pick up stars 1 and 3. And so far we've basically picked up exactly the same stars as what Adrilic did on his world record route, but that's all about to change entering 3-7. Again, the ending wasn't the best here because but again, quite a tidy level as well, and I'll remember to split this time as yeah, we long jump towards the flag, a nice little edge crouch just to end the level, and yeah, sure enough, yeah, it's another quite good split. So yeah, half an hour in, and yeah, Sparsh, you're not meant to spoil it. No, this does comfortably beat world records, but again, I don't really want to reveal the final time. I mean, a lot of you did have guesses at the beginning, and it'll be interesting to see how close you guys got come the end of the run, as we now enter probably the most hype level in the category. And I also want to thank Sparsh here as well, because he really helped me on the touchscreen over Parsec here. The touchscreen saves a ridiculous amount of time on this level. It's absolutely crazy, and compared to, even more than on any %, because of course I have to basically take all of the switchboards, and just having somebody hold them, hold it forward a bit is definitely very helpful. As yeah, getting all 3. Well, we're gonna only get 2 stars here, so we're gonna miss the 3rd star, and you're gonna see why in a bit. Again, Adrilic got all 3 stars on this level, so this is the first difference between my route and his route when it comes to the run. Again, this is the only level which I spliced in the middle of, I think, apart from 8- Mystery House. Normally I just splice between levels, but because me and Sparch had such a good start on one run, but we didn't have the best ending, I basically tried myself to get a slightly better ending, and I spliced that making sure that the timer lined up, of course. I spliced that onto the middle of the run. So this is, yeah, so to make it even more optimized. And we go for a really huge jump here. And I'll explain basically what happened with that jump. So a bit like in 3D Land, if you hold right when doing a long jump and you're falling down a long way, you basically gain a lot of speed. And as a result, I'm able to gain a lot of time as I sort of missplit that as well. But yeah, that saves a lot of time over the old route. But of course, it means now we're far behind what the old route was. So we're going to have to recoup that later on. Yeah, that jump is quite huge. And initially on the first run I did with Sparsh, I didn't quite nail that jump. So I made sure I sort of went back over it a few hours ago until I nailed that jump. And yeah, I think I only got that jump once today, Sparsh. So yeah, it is a very hard jump to get right. But I've stopped doing it in my Mario percents now. I did it in my first few, but I think it's just safer to pick up all 3 stars there. But of course, as this is a segmented run, I can sort of go bananas on the strategy. And yeah, that was 3-7 as our splits now hide Mario a bit. Now on this level, as we can't really skip to the other side of the carriage without, I think there is a way to jump on the bullet bills onto the other side, which I have done before, but picking up the first star and doing that seemed a bit much for me. So I basically made sure at the beginning I stayed to the as far left as possible. Once I triggered the stage to scroll on, to basically make sure these the spinning enemies animations were sort of delayed, and that allowed me to basically have a free pass when it came to the bullet bills. And you can see here, using the touchscreen to break Captain Toad early, a bit like they do in the any percent runs. And yeah, definitely not as snazzy as any percent, where they're basically jumping back and forth between the carriages, but nonetheless, just playing it safe this level, and a bit more back down to earth after the death-defying jumps of 3-7. And yeah, that's the other thing about 3-7 I forgot to add. I did do a another jump which I don't normally do in RTA just before the second star, which is quite a tight jump as well, because you have to sort of angle it so you're right beneath. You basically slot in right in the cove. But yeah, not the best pom-pom fight. I've definitely done better. And as we take the staircase, we make sure to avoid the clock this time. I only did that on a few runs because once Yandima told me a few days ago, I made sure that when I went over levels, I avoided the clock, because although it only says 0.3, it all adds up in the end. So as we split for the end of World 3, it's sub 36, which is quite cool. Sub 36 on the dot pretty much, as we enter Histocrat, which I suppose is also part of World 3. But yeah, as Jordan will know, in the past, Histocrat has caused me a lot of pain. But yeah, I actually didn't know that Mario can pretty much treat Histocrat like Luigi can. And there is actually a safe way of doing it, which I'll show here. So as a result, I don't think Histocrat's really going to bother me now in full game runs. But I've definitely lost a lot of time in the past to it. Yeah, I think there is an 80% guide for 3D World. I think I've seen it on the server, so I can definitely drop you an invite to that after the stream, and I'm sure the others will be happy to help you as well. And I think Hex is also doing some videos, sort of a beginner's guide to the 80% as well, which I'm gonna be sure to binge watch towards. I'm gonna binge watch the first one before tomorrow's race. Because if you guys didn't know already, there's I think a 10-man race going ahead tomorrow for any percent, which is going to be quite cool. And I'm going to go rogue and use items for once, so it'll be quite nice to do that for a change. But yeah, for now we're focusing on no items and we're focusing on Mario. But yeah, Histocrat again. What we do a long jump into a spin jump, and we're able to just about avoid his hitbox and basically go around it and land right on his head. Of course, the normal way to do this fight would be to wait until he gets his minions up and then basically jump on them in order to get to the top. But, I mean, as this is a speedrun, we can basically just cheese it and spin jump our way on top of him immediately. And we're going to get a 450 pipe entry, which is pretty much the best you can get without Rosalina, in my opinion. And, yeah, we accidentally pick up a timer, which will lose us a tiny bit of time as we bag a 61, which isn't too bad on this level. I mean, I've told them I've been open in the past that I do use Simu emulator, so that's why. And it is, I think if you have a really keen eye, you can tell. I think Luigi Master said on some levels you can sometimes tell that I'm on emulator, but I personally haven't noticed any difference between in-game time and RTA when using the emulator. But so I think this should be able to be replicated on a console. But yeah, full disclaimer, I did use an emulator for this run. As we enter World 4, again, well under 40 minutes for 3-B, which is quite good. And yeah, entering 4-1 here. And I sort of had to redo this level a few hours ago because, again, I initially damage boosted towards the end of this level and used a mushroom. But of course, mushrooms aren't allowed in this category. So instead, I'm going to ceremoniously drop it towards the end of the level to make sure I can't use it later on. And yeah, making sure I get this star by doing a spin jump. That's the only way you can sort of get up there without a cut suit. And yeah, I mean, at the beginning, I had quite a slow start to 4-1, but it didn't really cost me too much because if you're too fast, you end up clipping the ants, which takes you, which damages you, and it actually loses you a bit of time because the damage animation does take a little bit of time to progress. I don't run this game on my SSD sparse. I run it on my general hard drive, but and there isn't any load times in this game, fortunately. So emulator is quite true to form. I mean, if there was load times, then there probably would be more of a discrepancy. But yeah, as we get all 3 stars, again we're gonna have to take the long route round. I think only Rosalina can really skip this section. I normally would damage boost here, but again, making sure I'm nice and big going into 4-2, and yeah, we just tidy up that level, and yeah, that's 4-1. And yeah, for those of you wondering, we're not going to be going for the warp in 4-2 because, like unlike 1-2, I don't think it's actually possible to go for the 4-2 warp. But yeah, even if it was, it really restricts the star count at the moment. So I might do another one which it does include the 1-2 warp, but I don't know. I'm quite reticent about it because it really does change the route, and I'm not sure if it's 100% faster. Yeah. But yeah, heading on to 4-2 now. Again, quite an interesting level this. So, again, I mean, I can use touchscreen a bit here to speed it up, but I just choose to double jump on the piranha and just enter the pipe that way. And yeah, I just damage boost through this plant really. Again, it does lose me a tiny bit of time, but because I can't really juggle the mouse and gamepad at the same time on emulator, it's easy just for me to damage boost and recoup it at the checkpoint, and it hardly loses any time. But yeah, again, we're going to get all 3 stars on here, so we can save some stars later on. As we're going to go for the top route because it's a bit faster than the bottom route, even on the Mario percent, and using a slope there as well to give us a bit of extra speed. So, as I alluded to in 2-4, if you basically slide down the slope or run down the slope, you can basically keep your speed for a bit if you basically just bunny hop or just jump normally. So, whenever I can, I do try to use slope speed if it's helpful. Again, I found it really hard to avoid these piranha plants towards the end of the level, but able to get through without taking damage, which is always the aim. And yeah. Getting in the top of the flagpole. I'm not sure how much time that loses. I think it might lose a tiny bit, but again, all the time losses so far have been really minor, and yeah, sort of what I can get away with this being a segmented run. But again, as I said at the beginning, it's far from perfect still. If I had a few more weeks to work on it, I could probably lower the time a bit more, but still, it is fairly optimized in my opinion. So yeah, good point, Ollie. Getting the checkpoint is allowed from what I've clarified with Yandima, because I don't know how to describe it. It's not like you actually went for an item box and got a mushroom. And also checkpoints are really important in this category because if I was to die towards the end of the level, then I would sort of be hard done by if I had to start at the beginning of the level rather than the checkpoint. And yeah, I'm not getting any stamps. That's a good point. And you'll see even in 8-2, I actively try to avoid them. They lose 4 seconds in the transition. So it's really important that when you can, you avoid going for them, because you don't need them unless you're going for 380 star. And yeah, they just waste time. So, so I try to avoid them where possible. 4-4 is a very hard level. It took me quite a long time to get right. Now, I have heard rumors from King Boo and a few other people that a runner by the name of SSRI was able to skip the whole power beetle section without using items. I think with Toad or something, but I haven't been able to fully replicate that. But I do go for a minor skip towards the end of the level, which would save a lot of time over what I normally do. But if I can sort of find out how we did it, then I might try to. When I do eventually come to updating this, I can definitely go for it there. But here we're gonna ground pound off the jump pad, and as a result, we're able to basically catapult ourselves onto that singular item box. And because we didn't lose too much height, we don't get the T-pose animation, which is what you normally get if you fall from a high height. Because there's a few ways to sort of buffer that in this game. If you do a roll jump, like I've been doing a lot, you can buffer a crouch or a long jump, and you can also get rid of the animation. But normally I have to endure that. But here, we wait until the power beetles line up, and then we basically jump on both of them, and we can make it to the large mushroom pad. And again, you saw me trigger the mushroom pad early before getting the star, just so that when I exited, it was a bit further along than normal, so I didn't have to wait that extra time. And just making sure we enter the box at a nice time. And as you come to the end of the level, you get a 288, which is quite nice. And again, we've been able to avoid fireworks on the hole up until now. And yeah, we continue that up until here. So yeah, 4- Mystery House up next. And this is probably one of the most important levels in the game when it comes to Mario Percent. The any percent runners have a really nice trick where when they go to World 8, they're able to clip through a pipe and basically go out of bounds on the overworld screen and go to it. We're not going to do anything that's snazzy because we're not going for we didn't go for the 4-2 warp, but this is still really important because it's the only chance in the run that we can get 10 stars. And considering we need 170, it's really important that we get all 10 of these stars. Again, doing a roll jump onto these pads because it gives me a bit of forward momentum, and as a result, able to do that slightly quicker than normal. And again, just long jumping here, making sure I sort of enter these boxes as soon as possible, not losing any time. But this is quite an easy mystery house, to be honest. Like, it really only involves long jumps. I mean, I could probably incorporate 1 or 2 bunny hops, but most of these shards are really short. I mean, you see I do it there, but most of these shards are really short, so they're not really necessary to save a lot of time. But yeah, although this is straightforward, it's really important. Again, I just don't make any mistakes here. Because, yeah, if I was to miss a star towards the end, it would lose me a lot of time. Again, I opt to do roll jumps over the Goombas instead of long jumps because if you basically jump off an enemy with a roll jump, you get more forward momentum than if you do a long jump on the hole. Because sometimes if you do a long jump and you land on an enemy, you sort of lose your momentum if you don't do it at the right angle. So just to play it safe, I sort of just did roll jumps there, and they don't really lose any time. Yeah, it's nice to know that the stream's holding up perfectly. I mean, I did a practice and everything went flawlessly. It was just at the beginning of this stream, I think I had a few technical difficulties, which was definitely quite scary. But now we're got the ball rolling, it seems to be going quite well. So that's good. And yeah, as we head on to 4-5, this is quite a hard level in this category because I sort of have to wait for the cycles a lot, and I am going to basically tilt the camera a bit. So I'm going to do some camera manipulation a bit into this level, which does save a bit of time because it can make sure the cycles load in at the right time. Because basically what happens on some levels is if you look at a cycle, it will load in. So by tilting the camera to look at the cycle earlier, it loads in earlier, and it means I can get an earlier cycle than I normally would. So again, tilting the camera so we can have a look at the cycle of these two swinging platforms, and as a result, when we get to them, instead of having to wait the full cycle, we can basically just bridge the gap quite quickly. And again, still not perfect, but yeah, saving time. Yeah, if you do another any percent Jordan, good luck with that. I mean, you've been improving at a really you've been improving really fast. So hopefully you can keep the improvement going. But yeah, again, I'm planning on doing my first any % tomorrow as well for the race, so that should be quite interesting. But I've definitely set the bar high for myself after doing the segmented run, I think. Especially as this doesn't use any warps and items, so I'm sort of compelled to, in my opinion, try to beat this tomorrow, even though it's my first run. So we'll see how that goes. As yeah, we gained another few stars. And I remember on my last run, because I dropped a few stars early on, I had to basically go to 4-B as an emergency to pick up an extra star. Luckily, because it's a segment, I've done everything pretty much on point until now in terms of the stars. As we enter 4-Castle. And yeah, I mean technically this is approaching the halfway point of the run in Worlds, but after World 5 it gets a lot longer and a lot harder, so it's still got a long way of the run to go. But you can see here, having to pick up this boulder here in order to activate these 2 P switches, and that's the only way you can really get to this star without Catsuit. Oh, tomorrow, Ole, there's a any % race. It's a community race. And I think so far about 9 or 10 people have signed up, so it should be quite cool. Yeah, I mean, because it's a segmented run, Hex, I was able to get it quite a lot faster than normal. Especially as I didn't really use warps. I think this was actually, yeah, I mean, I was trying to aim to get somewhat close to the warpless world records, but we'll see how close I got towards the end of the run. I think the warpless world record is like a 154, so I wasn't expecting to get too close, but definitely in between both the world record and the warpless world record. Yeah, I think from what I know, there's going to be quite a lot of people streaming the race, so I think the stream to watch is probably going to be, I think Yandima, Bandit, and Preston are probably the 3 runners who I think have the best chance of going sub 140. But yeah, I think we'll all be streaming the race, and I'll probably be streaming it on YouTube as well. But I honestly don't know what to expect. Again, getting first phase Brawler fight. This is really important here. So you'll see at the beginning, making sure the little Brawlers are a long way to one side, so they don't get taken out in the collateral. And yeah, as we end World 4, I sort of misjudged the slope there. Because each ending has a different slope. So normally I line myself up for like the 1-1 castle ending, but you can see that I have to sort of do some long jumps to sort of save it a bit. But still avoiding fireworks, so all is good. And we're going to end World 4 just over 51 minutes. So yeah, not too bad. As we now head on to World 5, we're going to start off with the Captain Toad levels. And again, this Captain Toad's probably the hardest to do on emulator, but I was able to remap my controls a bit so I could operate the mouse and gamepad at the same time here. So I was able to pretty much run it like I do in IL. But yeah, that's World 4 done. And yeah, so far, I mean, everything's quite straightforward. I mean, we had a few hard levels, such as 3-7, but yeah. It really begins to heat up. World 5, I actually really like World 5. I know Hex doesn't seem to like it, but yeah. I personally love World 5. I don't think I can fault a single one of the 11 levels in this world. For me, though, World 6 is the real chore. So yeah, we'll see as we head on to that. Yeah, I know. They just make a pipe out of thin air, don't they? Yeah. But again, I think I'm probably going to go back over some of the Captain Toads. Again, because I think there's definitely some time to save on them. But yeah, again, I didn't actually get full boost speed going for the star, which probably loses me a bit of time in hindsight. But and damage boosting there as well, probably not the best idea. But again, safely going to get the star here, and only 1 second off my individual level time here. Yeah, I don't know. I think World 5 is probably not as exciting when it comes to any %, but for this category, in my opinion, World 5 is probably the best world. But yeah, World 6 is... I mean, it may be the coolest looking world, but as Jordan says, Fuzzy Time Mine, you know, I had a nightmare on 6-5 yesterday. There's a lot of hard levels there. I think it's where it really begins to ramp up in World 6 and 7. So yeah, 5-1 as well. We're only going to go for 2 stars. I normally go for 3 stars when I do runs here, but I'm going to go for 2 stars here, like I did in 3-7 and 3-5. And you'll see why later, because I'm able to recoup the stars right at the end. Yeah, as we enter this section. This was really hard to get right, because although it looks like you can just basically jump on the first one and the rest is done automatically, I found that if I jumped to all of them, if I jumped on the first one and waited for all of them to sort of get jumped on, I would actually take damage towards the end of that, and I didn't really want that. As we enter the warp box, 441, which is quite good. I think that was the best I had by quite a long way. And again, I've got to admit as well, normally when you enter 5-1, you would expect the Plessy dialogue, because I didn't do it in 1-4. But this is probably the only mistake I made in the splice. I didn't actually include that, and I tried splicing it in, but it looked really dodgy. So if you want, you can just add 4 seconds to the end of the run. But yeah, apart from that, the run was pretty much like it would be in RTA. I don't know. I mean, initially I liked World 7 Hex, but I mean, after having to grind this for this run, I can say I probably hate it now. 7-4 and 7-5 are really annoying to go for. But yeah, making sure we avoided fireworks, and I ended up having to do a lot of runs on this level, because I think every time I did this level, I've got either a 381 or a 383. But finally avoiding it and getting a 384, and yeah, making sure we don't get fireworks, which I think we've done perfectly so far. Now, on to 5-3, and I think 5-3 is probably one of the forgotten levels of the run, and I think I was actually only able to get within 1 second of what the guys do in any percent on this level. And whilst it's a short level, I still think it was definitely quite fun to grind out for, because I got about 15 duplications of a certain time before I was finally able to get a better time on it. But yeah, making sure to ground pound to get the first star. And initially I would actually spin jump here in order to bridge the gap, but I found you could just about make it if you do a regular jump with a lot of speed. And sure enough, we're going to get right at the end of 84. The 80% runners, I think, get 85 because they want to avoid the 86 fireworks, but still able to avoid the 83 fireworks and get a nice split there, as we're sort of heading towards I sort of say the halfway point of the run is between 5-6 and 5-castle, depending on how bad your late game is. So we're sort of approaching the hour mark, so approaching around halfway. As you enter 5-A now. Another really easy level to get right, but I mean, you can lose a bit of time if you don't get it quite right. Again, it's just you have to be patient, and the charging trucks basically run into the right position. You can just ground pound them and knock them out 2 at a time. And I forgot to do quite a lot of splits recently, so I need to be more in the ball for 5-4. But yeah, going well so far. Yeah, 5-4, again, not the most taxing levels. I mean, another difference I made in this compared to what I normally do in my game runs is I finally chose to do 5-6, as you can see on the splits, over 5-5. For whatever reason, I used to think 5-5 was faster. It's basically slightly slower, and you collect the same number of stars on both levels. But, I mean, there's not too much difference between it, but as it's a segmented run, I may as well make every star count. And yeah, you can see here, a nice open field. It's a good chance for us to do some bunny hops here. But of course, we need to get the first star here, so we can't just do crouch jumps to the end. And we're going to take the cannon here, because unless you really use crouch jumps in Katsu, it's probably faster to take the cannon than basically than not. Yeah, 5-3 is definitely the easiest level in World 5. But it was actually surprisingly quite difficult to get the 84 on this segment. I got like 10 or so 83s before finally getting the 84. And of course the 84 is a big deal because it avoids fireworks. And you can see they're probably the worst star collect of all time. And that's what happens when you try to juggle the mouse and gamepad at the same time. So losing a bit of time there on the star collects. So I could probably gain a few seconds there. But apart from really those star collects, I don't think there are many places to really improve this run so far. But yeah, entering 5-6 now. And this is where, like, normally on the fork, I'll go for bomb-ons below. Because both of them are similar in length when it comes to ILs. But, yeah, 5-6 is just ever so slightly shorter. So we're going to go for it. And you can see, from here on out, we're going to get a lot of these golden Tanuki boxes appear. I think 1 or 2 might have appeared in earlier levels. I think Luigi Master might have alluded to it a bit earlier in the stream. But a lot of these levels took me more than 5 attempts to get right. So, and as a result, you're going to see a lot of these Tanuki boxes prop up. But again, we're going to see another attempt of me trying to use the touchscreen. And again, not as fast as it can be. So it can definitely be improved. But again, quite a straightforward level, and we get a 52 there, which is quite a bit better than what I was able to do in 5-5. So definitely worth doing it. And we split a bit late again, but we'll let that one slide. Yeah, 7-5, I mean, yeah, I suppose 7-5 is quite a nice level, but it's really hard to get right, in my opinion. And it took me a long time to get a split I was happy with. But, yeah, it's probably one of the hardest levels in the run, I think. I mean, 3-7, 6-5, 6-7... 7-4 and 7-5, in my opinion, were probably the hardest levels. And I think 4-4 and 8-6 were also quite difficult. But here, a pretty neat trick you can do on the second star is you can throw the spring up into the star. So how that works is, if you're basically traveling upwards when you jump, if you release the spring there, it travels upwards as well. And it saves a bit of time over just laying the spring out and jumping for the star, which is quite cool. But yeah, also holding the spring basically stopped me getting hit by the bullet bills as well. But again, we're gonna get all 3 stars in 5-7 as well. This staircase is really hard to get right. It's probably even harder than 3-3. And I know the any percent guys are able to do a really neat trick where they're able to basically climb into that cubby hole with the star using the cat suit. But unfortunately, I don't have that luxury. And I have to basically wait for the bullet bills to destroy it. Hi, welcome back, Glock. Nice of you to join us again. But yeah, ending on a 302. So again, avoiding fireworks. And a similar time to 5-4, really. As this time we get the split bang on. And yeah, I think we're around halfway at this point. So make up the split to what you will. Again, I don't want to give away the final time, but I say between 5-6 and 5-castles around the halfway point on most of my runs. But of course, the ending of this run is a lot tidier than normal, so make of that of what you will. Yeah, my 222 is gonna get demolished by this run, Jordan. I mean, it definitely helps that I was able to splice out the saves, which saves 2 minutes 38. I mean, some of the splices might be a bit jarring, I suppose, but I mean, I wanted to make it true to form from what you guys can do on the Wii U nowadays, so that's why I did that. But again, I used a bit of camera manipulation here as well to make sure the cycles sort of line up quite nicely. And as we're going to go for the second star, it's actually a really hard cycle for this star. And it took me a long time to get it. But I need to basically make sure I'm not losing any speed throughout here. So you can see trying to bunny hop as much as possible. And you can see we're just about going to make that cycle before it disappears. And that saves quite a lot of time over what I was doing before. Because I don't think either me or the world record got that cycle. So quite important there. And that will definitely save time. I mean, again, I might do split. I might re-time this and split against world records, and probably just send you guys the splits. But for now, I just think keeping a blank split was a good idea from Yandima's part. So That's what I'm doing. Especially as, I mean, I plan to try to take the world records in this category. Of course, as I'm running on emulator, I won't submit it to speedrun.com. But just for me, it would be quite nice to be able to lower the 212, which is pretty much stood for 6 years, I think, because nobody's really run this category. So hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully, this category can have 1 or 2 more runners sooner or later, because it's quite fun and it's definitely an easy way to learn getting into the game because it's not too hard. But yeah, as we finish up this level as well, we're gonna get a 385, and again avoiding fireworks. Yeah, 7-7 was actually a really good level in this segment. Adrillic had some really nice strategies on 7-7, which I was sort of able to copy paste and do really well. So as we complete World 5 in under an hour and 4 minutes, we head into World 6, and this is where the run really begins to heat up, because 6 and 7, there's a huge difficulty increase in my opinion from World 5, especially as I don't really like it. So yeah, this is where the fun begins, guys. Yeah, there's no rush to run this, Jordan. Like, you know, there's no rush. I mean, but it would be nice to have a few runners sooner or later. Yeah, I mean, it is very long. I'm not gonna lie. Which is why I decided to make a segment speedrun, because I sort of felt I couldn't do this category justice when I was doing single segment speedruns, because I wasn't really speedrunning it. I was just avoiding dying, which wasn't really like fun in my opinion. Whereas this, I was basically able to go flat out throughout the whole run, and yeah, I basically spliced a lot of shorter speedruns together, really. But again, I mean, going through the pipes, I'm not sure if it's slightly fast to go outside the pipes, but I don't think it saves or loses that much time. And again, just slotting in behind these fuzzies to get the star without taking any damage. Oh yeah, the music change is definitely quite cool in 7-5. But I know for a fact that that sequence is really hard to get right, because there's so many places to sort of bop and lose time on. Again, I think the any percent guys can go above the pipe, and with Rosalina I can do that, but with Mario, because I don't have the extra twirl jump, I still have to do it the old-fashioned way. And yeah, we're just gonna go through the pipes here. Yeah, this was an awful lot of fun, Ollie, to make. Definitely, I'm definitely happy I spent my last 3 weeks doing it, and that's why I'm happy to share it with you guys. And yeah, just pretend that was a flagpole glitch there. I like bonked the bottom of the flagpole. Again, I didn't actually lose any in-game time, but I probably lost a tiny bit, probably about 0.3 or so RTA. Yeah, 6-2. This is a level I haven't really liked in the past, as you can see, again, when I was doing some of these recordings, I had some people, I wasn't always on Do Not Disturb, so you might hear some Discord beeps throughout the run, but they are few and far between. But yeah, this level I've never really enjoyed. I've never really understood how to get rid of the bullies quickly, but I did, so I spent quite a long time on this level, and I found a really efficient way to get rid of them. I think thanks to Priceless. I mean, I remember watching one of his runs of the category, and yeah, he was able to do that quite well, so that was good. Yeah, again, Golden Leaf, because it took me more than 5 deaths to do, as I said, Luigi. On some of these later levels, because I wasn't able to get them quite quickly, you're going to see the Golden Leaf, which is to be expected on a segmented run. Yeah, Ollie, some of them were your Discord, some of them were probably Jordan's, and then the rest were probably my friends and Luigi or Yandima or something, but there are not too many of them. As again, we avoid fireworks. I mean, I probably should have gone around the staircase, which could have been a bit faster, but again, not losing much time there. 6-3 now, another stage which Sparsh was able to help me on with the touchscreen. So again, thanks Sparsh for that, because it really helps on this stage. And yeah, I mean, it wasn't. I could definitely say doing the touchscreen probably isn't the most enviable tasks, but I appreciate it nonetheless. you and Yash helping me over parsec. Right, as we enter 6-3. Again, the any percent guys normally go for 6-4 and collect all 3 stars, but because I can't really skip the cycles that easily, and it's pretty much an auto-scroller for me, 6-4 in this category, I go for 6-3 because it's a bit faster. Yeah, you can see collecting the stars there. Apart from that, it's pretty similar. Again, you're going to see us pick up the propeller hat, which is allowed in this category. And we just about make it on top of the fronts, which saves a bit of time. A bit of a scuffed ending, but we're still going to get what will be a 3-3-7, and we're going to avoid fireworks again, which is the main goal. Yeah. So this is where it begins to amp up a bit. So we got 6-A now, which is quite an easy level. There is a bit of RNG involved if you don't get the cycles right. But yeah, once you do it enough times in a segment, you can get a good run. And I think I was actually able to time my best individual level time of in this as well. So I had quite a good run here. Yeah, getting quite lucky with the pipes. Pretty much an optimal second hit, really. I'm going to switch it to this pipe, and again, we got quite lucky. So, the best RNG you can get, and as a result, we're going to bag what will be a 27, which is tied with my best individual level on that stage. So yeah, this is where the fun begins, guys, as we enter into 6-5. Yeah, 6-5 and 6-7, probably two of the hardest levels to get completely right. And yeah, I got a really good run on 6-5, but unfortunately it got fireworks, as you'll see. But I wasn't able to match it, so I've had to keep it in. But yeah, making sure to use ice glitch as well, because like 3-1, you can use it to save a bit of time here. Not the best start. I've had better starts than that, but you'll see here, using the ice glitch, we could just bridge that gap there, and then twirling to get the star, and we're able to get quite an early cycle on the clouds, and we enter on a 3-7-5, which is pretty optimal. I think I entered on a 3-7-6 when I had one of my friends holding down the clouds a bit, but yeah, 3-7-5 being close to as optimal as you're going to get. And yeah, we conserve a bit of speed going into the warp box, and that allows us to trigger the ice glitch a bit quicker. And yeah, as we exit the box with a lot of speed, we basically zoom, and I couldn't really control the speeds and get the start at the same time, so I sort of had to bonk into the that wall there to slow me down. So it's not as crazy as any percent, where they can pretty much conserve that speed to the very end, but nonetheless quite a hard level to get right. So I was definitely quite happy to get a run in. And not the best ending, and this was quite disappointing, because I think it could have been a 3-17 if I didn't choke the ending, and that would have probably saved a few seconds of fireworks as well, but not to worry. I mean, so far as well, I mean, there's only really been minor, like 1 or 2 second time losses. It's not like my normal runs where I die every other level and lose about 2 minutes. Yeah, now we're entering Luigi Master's favourite level, Fuzzy Time Mine. And wow, this level is a nightmare. It is an absolute nightmare. So the reason why it's much harder than most auto-scrollers is because in order to do it fast, you sort of have to go for the skip. And you can hear me bumping into some rules up there. It wasn't actually the cleanest skip in my opinion, but we're just about able to make the 3-7-7 cycle. The way I sort of do it, I think Yandim is able to get the 3-8-4 cycle even without items, which I think is really good, as we just about avoid dying to the fuzzies there, so that was quite clutch. Because the fuzzies are one hit. If you get hit by them, you're dead. And there's no checkpoints as well, so it's important to just about avoid them. So we're going to try to get the second star, and yeah, we just about get that. So we move on to the last bit of the run. But yeah, I found it really hard to get the star and just about make it back in front of the fuzzies. And that took me a long time, but this was just as hard. I have to grab the star, and I just about make this cycle here. If I miss that cycle, that's about 7 seconds down the drain. So just about making that. And yeah, a really good fuzzy time mine. Considering I'm not really that good at this level, but there probably is a way to get a slightly faster cycle. But I will settle with an 82, which isn't a million miles off my 72, which I did as an individual level. Oh yeah, no problem, Ollie. Thanks for tuning in for as long as you did, and I'll make sure to tell you guys what the final time of the run is after the stream. And yeah, that's the other thing. I will be hanging out in the general voice call of the 3D World server after the stream. If you want to ask me any questions about the category or just talk about the race tomorrow. But yeah. Oh, thank you, Ollie. I'm doing my best with the commentary. It's sort of quite hard to commentate this, I suppose, because yeah, I think the gameplay almost speaks for itself. But yeah, this is quite a hard one to get right without using the mouse as touchscreen. But again, the touchscreen just completely cheeses this because I don't have to basically manually throw it. And yeah, hitting the P-switch first time, that's really rare for me. I normally take a long time to hit that P-switch. So definitely a lot better than my my normal runs. If we split again. Yes, moving on to 6-Castle now. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think 6-7 seems to be a Marmite level, Brandy, because I know Luigi Master likes it, and you say you like it as well. But I'm not sure. I mean, quite a lot of people don't like it as well. But it's sort of the levels you either, it's the type of level you either love or you hate, I suppose. As we head on to 6-Castle, I think this is unanimously hated by most people. This level. I think I know a lot of people as well who've died right at the end of this level, and it's probably the worst place to die in the whole run because it's such a long level, and yeah, if you die at the end, you're losing two minutes plus. So making sure, I mean, of course, it's a segmented run, so I'm not gonna have any deaths, spoilers, but yeah. Yeah, I know. It happens to me as well, Jordan. Don't worry. I lost I think my last 2 PBs of this category died at the end of World 6, and lost 2 minutes. It's really annoying, this level. So yeah. Again, just using the touchscreen just to help me to get rid of that enemy a bit sooner. And able to pretty much get all of the I don't know what they're called, the wind-up beetles at the bottom. Again, I sometimes do get hit by this fire bro, and as I can't really afford to take damage because I wanted to start each segment as regular size, and also taking damage loses time. I had to make sure to avoid his fireballs. But the hardest section is probably coming up. So as we get the start, we're able to perform a skip here. The sooner you get to this part of the screen, the quicker you can skip the auto-scroll part. So I try to do that as soon as possible. But yeah, I get hit a lot of times by the Hammer Bros at the end. And yeah. Yeah, you see, that's why I run Mario %, Jordan, because if I ever wanted to go to a Toad House, I would always win, because, you know, I think pretty much every Toad House has a mushroom in it. Even so, actually, no, I forgot, I'm not allowed to use mushrooms in this category anymore. So yeah, Toad Houses are forbidden. But, I mean, if they were allowed, then I suppose it would be a win-win for me. And yeah, as we get towards the end of World 6, of course, no deaths so far, and there won't be any deaths in this run. Apart from one, actually. There will be one death in this one, but it is on purpose. So that'll be a bit later on, though. And yeah, ending World 6. And, like, normally, from what I'm aware of, I think my PB splits would be, to put it into context, I think my PB splits would be on around 5-6, 5-7 at the moment. So I'm pretty much a whole world ahead of my PB at the moment, which is ridiculous. Yeah, I did. Unfortunately, my splits are covering the mushroom. But yeah, I did get rid of it earlier on. And yeah, it was quite majestic. I watched it soar off. So yeah, moving on to Monty now, and I probably lose a bit of time in Monty because this is the only other level on my emulator apart from 1-5, which has a bit of lag. But it's like, it's not as bad as 1-5. It's only like 1 second before I enter the fight. So yeah, you'll find out where the intentional death is. But yeah, it is because Actually, no, I'll just tell you ahead of time. It's in the mystery house at the end of the level. I call him I don't know why I always call him Monty. That's a good question. I don't know. He's Motley, isn't he? Yeah, I call him Monty for some reason. I don't know why. I just think it flows better. If there's any Nintendo devs watching for the sequel. I don't know. I think it's a bit like people call the second Histocrat fight Mr. as well. So yeah. So yeah, not the best entry. I normally can enter in 6, but I entered in 7 there. And you're going to see a few drop frames here. It's not the stream, I assure you. It is just Simu being Simu. But that's like the only drop frames I'm going to get from this run, to be honest. And yeah, Monty's, or Motley even, he isn't the most fun boss fight without using Rosalina. Because I have to jump on him in all 3 phases, which is slightly slower. I accidentally pick up a double cherry, but it is allowed under the rules, so I'll just probably get rid of him towards the end of the level. I mean, the actual name of the level is Histocrat Returns, but yeah, I don't know what Nintendo actually called the character. Yeah, we just eliminate him for the 3rd phase. I basically dump one of my clones off the edge. It's just a lot easier for me that way, because I don't have to manage 2 clones going into the pipe. So, yeah, and it should save a bit of time. And this was one of the levels I recorded after Yandema told me to avoid the clock. So sure enough, I avoid the clock, and I clock in a low 83 there, which is the fastest time, or the joint fastest time I've done without Rosalina on this level. Rosalina literally just saves about 3 or 4 seconds, just by able to, just because you can spin on the, you can twirl on the last hit, which shortens his death animation. Yeah, if you can look it up, Jordan, that would be great. Right, so we head into World 7 now. So, yeah, World 6 was definitely where it began to heat up, and I can probably say World 7 was the hardest level, hardest world, even, to make for this task. Or segmented run, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, again, sorry for the jarring transitions, because when I was sort of splicing out the saves, whilst it's saving, the overworld sort of continues as normal. So, unlike the other, like the inter-level splices, which are pretty much indistinguishable, they are a bit noticeable. But, again, it saves 2.5 minutes, and, I mean, you're able to do that on Wii U, so I thought you may as well include them in a segmented run. Or a best theoretical time. Again, going above the pipes because it's a bit faster there. And that was probably one of the better touchscreen stars I've got. Yeah, things are sure heating up. I mean, we've entered World Lava pretty much, well, Castle. And yeah, a lot of the, actually pretty much all the levels here are lava themed. Apart, yeah, even 7-6, but we don't go to 7-6. But yeah, even 7-6 has a bit of lava in the middle. So, yeah. Things are literally heating up. And again, yeah, ending World 6 as well, under 1 hour 20 minutes, which is quite cool as well. It's always quite nice to have certain barriers. I think Yandima's world record 1 was the first world record, well, sorry, it was the first run to have an any % World 6 under 1 hour. So, you know, only 20 minutes off that. Only 20 minutes off world record at the moment. Now, Jordan and I have had quite a lot of fun on this level, and we're actually going to avoid the boost pads at the beginning, because Nintendo are a bit stupid. Like, slope speed is faster than boost pad speed, so I'm pretty much able to use jumps to conserve the speed I get from the slide at the beginning, much like I did in some of the other levels, and as a result, I am, well, it's just slightly faster really, and that was actually me using the touchscreen by myself. I think that's probably my proudest moment in the run in terms of my touchscreen abilities. Like, I had to try to maneuver the mouse and the gamepad at the same time, and I was able to save like 5 in-game time by doing that over what I normally did. So I was really happy with that. I could probably save another second if I got somebody to help me, but to be honest, I think it would have been a 43 if I got somebody to help me. So I think that was pretty much the best I could hope for. Maybe a 44 is possible on the end timer. to avoid the fireworks, but yeah. Yeah, now entering 7-4, and this level was an absolute nightmare. An absolute nightmare to get right. And I think on my first ever Mario percent run, which was a 248 or something, so a long way off what this will be, I lost 6 minutes here because it's just so tempting to speedrun the cycles. And of course, I sort of have to speedrun the cycles on a segment here. You can see I'm really bunny hopping here to get to this star as soon as possible. And again, quite fast considering I'm using a mouse for the touchscreen. I'm sure that if you use the Wii U itself, you could do it a bit faster. But just about making that cycle there. And it's important because I entered the warp box on a 365. And yeah. If you enter it on anything later than a 364, you can't make this cycle here. So it's very tight. So it's probably not RTA viable yet. But I will definitely try to make that that cycle more consistently. And once you make that cycle, the other cycles just seem to line up really. And yeah, we're just able to breeze through the rest of it, which is cool. So definitely gaining a lot of time with the save cycle. And yeah, I mean, it took me a few attempts to get this level right. And I wanted to see if I can do a spin jump to bridge the gap, but I wasn't able to do it. So I have to basically get on the platform and shove these off the old-fashioned way. And yeah, one of them just took its sweet time to go off, so that lost me a bit of time there. Yeah, I think 7-3 has fuzzy time mind music because it's like a 100-second time limit, and it's actually quite a stressful level because it's quite easy to make a mistake on 7-3 because you're constantly on the boost pad. So it's sort of, I think that's why they sort of went for that theme. But yeah, as we head to 7-A now, it's another chance for me to pretty much do an IL. And sure enough, I was actually able to again tie my IL time on this stage, which was quite cool. IL standing for individual level, of course. But yeah, I mean, the easiest way to sort of hit him is by looking at the timer. And you see, like, I am really defensive on this fight. I always hide the boulders right at the edge of the map so they can't get hit. Just because, like, the amount of times, like, he somehow manages to snipe them. And we get a 35, which is only 2 off world record, and it's tied with my PB without items. I think maybe 34 is possible without items, but again, I'm not sure. Well, I mean, what's ironic, Brandy, is that your two favourite levels are the two levels which cause me the most grief. You know, 7-4 and 7-5. And yeah, talking about 7-5, this was very hard to get right. And when I did get it right, I normally got fireworks, so I had to do this again and again. We're going to go for a little skip. It doesn't save any time because we still make this cycle, but just jumping on the thwomp, quite cool. We're going to go for a spin jump that just allows us to get this star. But unfortunately, we have to now go the long way around to get the second star. We can't just climb up like the catsuit guys can. And that loses me a lot of time. And this is probably one of the biggest time losses to the any percent route. I think Yandim was telling me he had 325 on this level or something, using the any percent route, which is a hell of a lot faster than I can do on Mario percent. But not having the best Koopas, I think I have had runs which were 354 pace going into this. But I actually like it when it's on 351 pace because you'll see here, the cycle lines up a lot better. We're going to go for a long jump and we're going to land right on the slope. That cancels the end lag. So as I was saying, if you do a long jump normally, you basically have a T-pose when you land. Unless you basically do a roll jump and buffer it into a long jump or a crouch. Or if you do a long jump, you have to land on a slope. But you can see us being slightly slow at the beginning gives us a slightly better cycle. Than if I was a bit quicker. And as a result, we were able to get rid of most of the slimes. So our descent should be a bit easier. But the amount of times I took damage on this descent was just... I lost count. Like this one here, again, I just couldn't avoid it. So I will take damage. And as a result, I mean, this was such a good run apart from that. I basically just pick up the checkpoint. And I probably lose about 3 seconds in-game time. And probably about 2 seconds real time by doing this. But again, it was worth it to get this level up the way. So yeah, moving on to 7 dash Captain Toad now, and yeah, it's got quite an easy cycle for the 37 on this stage, but if you want to go any quicker, you sort of have to do quite a lot of stuff with the touchscreen. So you'll see that I have to sort of finick around with the touchscreen a bit to do a bit faster. But it doesn't really save too much time as well, so I probably wouldn't run 7 dash Captain Toad like I do here in my actual runs. So yeah, again, I sort of didn't have to run too fast because you can't really hold down that thwomp earlier, so you sort of have to settle with that cycle. So that's why even King Boo says 33 is impossible using the any percent route. 35 is probably the best time you can get, and holding the thwomp down slightly earlier, we're able to squeeze a low 36, so pretty much the best I could hope for. I will go for a 35 a bit later on, but for now 36 was quite good in my opinion. As we head on to 7 dash 7, and although it took me quite a long time to get right, and I have actually said on record numerous times in my other Mario Percent streams, this is probably the hardest level in the run. It is probably, you know what, Hex, I'm actually going to say it's probably one of my best levels in the segmented run. It was really fun to do in the segmented run, and you'll see why. I've got to thank Adrilic, the current world record holder, for this, because I would not have thought to do the strategies he does on this level. They're just completely bonkers, but they are really cool at the same time. So normally you need a boomerang for this star. Well, I'm just going to ignore a boomerang. I'm going to do a roll jump, and then I'm going to go into a spin jump, and it gives me enough forward momentum to get the star. Taking a damage boost there, I don't normally damage boost, but I should be able to recoup it at the checkpoint. So it's not a big deal. It'll just lose me a second or two. And yeah, that's the first big skip. Now we're going to go for the second big skip. So normally I lose a cycle on this level, getting the green star. We're not going to lose the cycle anymore. We're going to go for an audacious spin jump, just about make the gap. And again, because we used a roll jump instead of a long jump, it gives us a bit more forward momentum, and it allows us to just about clear that gap. And, you know, although it looks quite hard, I might actually start doing it on my full game runs. It's a lot of fun to do, and it saves a lot of time as well. It saves about 5-10 seconds. As we touch the top of the flagpole, you might lose a bit of time for that, but again, just to end the level off in style, because it was quite a cool level in my opinion. And yeah, I did try running on top of the pipes as well, but I found it was 50-50 that I'll get attacked by those sort of inferno dragons which jump out of the lava. So I decided against it. It doesn't really save any time as well. So yeah, as we move on to 7 dash castle, this took me a long of yeah, I'm not doing out of bounds Hex because I didn't go for the 4 dash 2 warp, unfortunately. I mean, yeah, the 4 dash 2 warp is definitely impossible in this category, but the 1 dash 2 warp has been proven possible. But again, I wouldn't have been able to go for as many of the tricks as I've gone through so far if I went for that route. So yeah, again, 7 dash castle. We're only going to be picking up the 1 star here because unlike 7 dash 7, there is a star which you really need boomerang for this time. I can't really get that, but yeah. So Jordan's still sticking with his estimate of a 201.57. I think Hex had an estimate of a 158.37, and we had a few more estimates before the run, as we keep bunny hop speed a lot longer than usual, and as a result we're able to sneak under the last fireball. That cycle was really hard to get. It took me a long time, but able to get that cycle, and we're going to quickly dispatch of the Hammer Bros, and as a result we're able to enter the warp box on a 445, which is a bit quicker than I normally did. Now normally if I had Toad, I can roll up the stairs, but yeah, this time I sort of have to jump normally because Mario just seems to slide if I do. So yeah, Hex coming in with a 158.37, and Yandima coming in with a 157.39. Well, I think I had a few more guesses, like a 2 hour 42 seconds. I think somebody else guessed 2 hours 57 seconds. We've now got a 201.31 from Glock. So we seem to have a lot of people. We have 2 people thinking it's going to be the sub 2, and everyone else thinking it's going to be sort of around there. So we'll see what it gets. We'll see what it gets. as we dispatch from Bowser easily using Sparsh's throw technique. I haven't missed a throw since using it, to be honest. Yeah, Jordan's right. I think 2 of my 5 Mario percent runs, or maybe even 3 of my 5 Mario percent runs, always like ended on like a 57 second of the minute. It was really quite funny. And we muck up the stairs. Actually, no, it was actually not the worst stairs, to be honest. I thought it was a bit worse, but this is the longest stairs sequence in the game, and as a result, we get like a 12 stairs case. We nearly got an 11 stairs, but yeah, it's just a lot harder to line up those stairs than normal. So I can't really go for the 10 ending, especially as it's a bit longer. Yeah, we've passed the hour-and-a-half mark now as we enter onto World 8. So, still under the any percent world record, which is good. At least we haven't been beaten by an entire world. Peach Master 07. That would be quite cool. Right, as we head on to 8-1, and again, normally I'll be 1 star ahead than I am at the moment, heading into World 8. But I normally be on 147 stars and collect 23 stars in World 8. But I'm purposely 1 star behind, and instead of recouping an extra star in 8-1, we're gonna do the opposite. We're gonna skip a star in 8-1 and go 2 stars behind, going into the rest of the world. So this is really where the route comes into its own. So I skipped a lot of stars early on, like 5-1, 5-6, 3-7, etc. And we're gonna skip another one here. And yeah, Toe Master 08, yeah. And then we got Luigi Master 06. All we need now is Jordan to be like Mario Master 05, and then we got a complete full house. But yeah, you can see here. I purposely angled my long jumps so that my first bunny hop was at a bit of an angle, because that gave me a bit more speed. And navigating around the spikes here, because I want a damage boost a bit later on before the first checkpoint. So yeah, able to avoid taking damage. And avoiding this star is something I've wanted to do for a while. And after avoiding it on the segment run, it's something I want to do every single time. This is probably the biggest time save of the whole run, over both world record and myself. And I'll tell you the exact time save I can remember off the top of my head after we finish the world. But whilst most of the levels gained about 5 to 10 seconds, maybe the odd 20, 25 seconds here and there, I think 6-2 may have gained about 40 seconds over world record. This gained more than all of them. And as we finish up, we're going to split on a 1:36, well, we're just going to wait for the timer a bit, but it's going to be a 1:36.08, and that gained 50 seconds. Yeah, that's right, we nearly gained a whole minute over the world record splits. And a similar time gain over my best splits as well. And it's all because we avoided having to get that 3rd star, which you basically need to wait a hell of a long time to get on the cycles. And due to getting the extra star in 7-7 at the beginning, and what I'll be doing a bit later on, I'm able to skip I'm able to skip the star there, and yeah, which is very helpful. Of course, doing the double long jump onto Plessy to make Luigi Master happy. The amount of grief I've got by doing roll jumps onto Plessy in the past and losing 0.1 seconds, I wanted to make sure I avoided the hassle today. And normally you just neutral stick it to the star to make sure you guarantee getting the star, but I actually held forward and was just about able to make the cycle. And the reason why I choose this over 8-3 is, for a start, 8-3 is only really faster in any percent because you can use Catsuit. And also, I think they only collect 2 stars there anyway. And at this point, I sort of need all the stars I can get as we avoid the stamp. So, going back to Brandy's question earlier, making sure we avoid the stamps as much as possible, because they basically bleed time at the end of the level. And yeah, on the descent, we have to make sure we destroy this Bowser statue. I actually forgot to do it on one of my runs, and that triggers the 3rd star. So making sure we don't miss that. And yeah, apart from that, this is pretty much like an individual level again. And we're going to finish up pretty close to my individual level best, to be honest, as you enter on a 3:17. I think the world record overall is an 88. I think I've clocked in an 89 before. And this will be a 92 as we get the flagpole. So not too bad. Of course, we had to slow down a bit to get each of the stars, but not losing too much time. As we split for the last time under Yandima's 80% world records. We're about to pass it at this point. But still, I'm quite happy that I was able to get midway through World 8 before we surpassed it. But there's still a long way to go. World 8 is notoriously long. As we head on to 8-train. Yeah, I know. I find 88 really hard to get. I think the 89 took me a long time to get. Maybe if I go back to it, I can get the 88 again. But I remember Luigi Master just getting the 88 even without items quite quickly, which is quite cool. Yeah, as we enter 8-train. Again, just... The good thing about these levels, I suppose, although I don't really like auto-scrollers, you don't really lose any time going for the stars. And most of the stars are accessible anyway, so we're going to go for all 3 stars again. And it's a good chance to really recompose yourself in a run and just get the extra stars. We're going to have this coin box on our head as well, just so we can damage boost if needed. Just play it safe. Yeah, we collect the coins here. Just gonna damage boost it, just so I can get the star a bit more consistently. Getting quite a bad entry into the door. I can normally enter on a 3-3-4, but it's an auto scroll. It doesn't really matter. But I'm gonna do an IL tactic called which basically involves you going in and out of the doors. It only really saves in-game time, but I wanted to pay homage to my individual level days, and it didn't actually lose any time on the cycle anyway. As yeah. As we enter 8-train. Again, I mean, Luigi Master seems to always understand this fight. I find it really hard to get right. Unfortunately, I don't have Rosalina, so I can't go for early pom-pom. And that was an atrocious first hit. But we guessed the second cycle pretty correctly, I suppose. But again, this pom-pom from being improved. Get really nice RNG there at the end. Which sort of saved this level, really. But again, could probably be improved. As we get a nice 10 ending. So yeah, we've passed the 100-minute mark now, so we've only got a few more levels to go. But these are some of the longest levels, so yeah. It's definitely not over yet. So yeah, heading into 8-4 now. Again, this level is quite hard if you run it for the first time, but once you sort of know where all the paths are, it's not too hard. And I sort of know what I can get away with. So yeah, initially when you first run this level, the fact that there's no path is quite disconcerting, but we actually get a little thwomp clip there, which is quite a swag strat. It literally saves a 10th at most. But by clipping through the swamp, he actually pushes me forward a bit, and that saves a tiny bit of time. But again, I'm grateful for every ounce of time I can save really in this run. Again, using roll jumps to cover the gaps, and I mean, I normally would use touchscreen, but to be honest, it's probably faster for me on the emulator just to collect them like this, and just bleed a few seconds to what you guys can do on the Wii U. But yeah, using bunny hops now to clear the gap, and yeah, just being a lot more aggressive on the path because it's a segmented run, of course. But we still have to wait for the thwomp to go down. We will jump up and be able to collect the star quite quickly. I mean, I normally play it really safe as well on my runs, and I don't go for this skip here, but it's quite easy. You just skip the section and then jump on top of the bullet ball camp land there. Yeah, I'm not clicking through the swamp, I'm clicking through the thwomp. Yeah, my bad for not pronouncing that well. But yeah, as we head on to 8-6, now we're really getting towards the end of the run. And yeah, it gets interesting at this point. I think at this point my my PB had sort of passed the 2-hour mark, I think. At around this point, so we're a long way ahead of that. And I think we're easily over 10. We're about. I think at this point we're over 10 minutes ahead of world records. So, which is good. I mean, this is the only level which I didn't do a proper frame perfect transition into, because yeah, normally I spliced it whenever like the the thing was peeling away. But this level was so annoying to do. I ended up just, instead of hard resetting it each time, whenever I died, I just tried to do the level again. As we go for an angle jump, that allows us to cover the gap a bit sooner, goes for a skip. And this is, yeah, it gets really interesting at this point. Because, whilst we're not going to be doing candle strats, we are able to go for a little skip here, which involves a spin jump, which I normally don't go for. And then we jump on both these dry bones, and that actually involves a bit of dry bone RNG from what I've got. I mean, you can easily jump on the item box, and then do a roll jump from there, which is a bit safer, but that's a bit faster, but it sort of requires a bit of RNG in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, I sort of discovered angle jumps midway through the run, so I used them in some places, but they don't really gain that much time, a bit like crouch jumps. So I use them where I can, but yeah, they really don't gain too much time in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, unfortunately this section we pretty much have to wait out. Again, if I had Rosalina or something, I probably might be able to invent some candle strats like the guys do in the catsuit, where they're literally jumping on the candles and able to skip this entire section. So yeah, this is probably the biggest time loss compared to any percent of the whole run. Yeah, we're just gonna hold the drive-ins in place because they could just get quite annoying towards the end of this auto scroll section. And we're just gonna click the power as well just to get rid of one. But yeah, although it's only subtle as well, we picked up the lamp box at the beginning of the level, so we didn't lose any time to the cycle, so that was quite cool. And again, we're just going to get rid of the boo here. And I actually choked the ending here. I was on course for a 2-2-4, and I missed the flag. I was trying to not hit the top, and I got fireworks. So that's about 2 seconds down the drain, but again, nothing too major. And now this is where the route sort of comes into play. Now, I'm still in 2 minds whether or not I go for this in RTA, because you'll see that it's really tight, this next level. But this is probably the most important level in my opinion, the whole run. Because it's the second, for the start, it's the second most amount of stars you can get in the run after 4-M. Because you can get 6 stars here now. Whereas normally I would get 4 stars or even 2 stars. So able to gain a lot more stars in this level, and that's why I've been a bit more aggressive on the star count up until now. So we're actually going to take a different route for the first star, and this will sort of show you what we're going to do for the 5th star as well. So doing a spin jump up there. Here again, just trying to roll under the gap and not bonk. For star 3, I can do a nice little spin jump here and get the star quite quickly, which is quite cool. Again here, I mean all the stars here sort of involve spin jumps, but you're able to get a spin jump immediately after a roll jump, so that's what I'm going to use quite a lot. So it's easier to just do a jump into a spin jump. Here is a really tight jump, but we're just able to make it, and that's the best star 5 I've ever done. Until then I'd only got 1 second or 0 seconds remaining on that star, and it's really tight, so if you make a mistake, you have to reset, and that's why I'm sort of in 2 minds whether or not to use it. And yeah, here is the only death of the run Glock, as we yeah, it was the kamikaze at the end of 8-Mystery House. Yeah, the way to get the spin jumps fast is by basically buffering them out of a forward roll. I find that works quite well. So yeah, as we enter the last 4 levels, we've only got 8-7 and then the final 3 boss levels to go. So yeah, still on quite good pace in my opinion. Again, I think I lost a bit of time in the overworld there, because Yandema tells me the 80% guys just warp to the beginning of World 7, and then basically it's a bit fast to get to 8-7 after that. Of course, here I basically ground pound these blocks to make sure they go faster, and yeah, the more time I can have them in that state, the faster it goes. So I try to do that as much as possible as we pick up the star. There's not really too many opportunities to go for really large skips. I was able to do a bit more of Rosalina, but as I'm using Mario, it's not really there's not really many skips to do. But we're able to skip that section, which saves a bit of time, and we get quite good bounce pads yeah, the rest of the level we can't really go for any major skips, so it's just about maximizing the time that we got. We got the drum blunt moving as fast as possible. Okay, yeah, sorry, this was a really poor Star Collect. I tried to incorporate touchscreen and gamepad, and you can see they just don't really mesh well together. But nevertheless, we didn't lose too much time there. Yeah, it's a shame. I think Shuko said he was interested in this category, so it would have been nice if he could see this. As we nearly die there. Just making sure we basically ground pound as soon as we can. And yeah, making sure not to miss this star. But yeah, as we close to the end of another level, we've only got 3 levels to go now. The 3 boss levels right at the end of the game. So, and again, we're going to complete this well under 150. So, it's hopeful towards the end. So, again, you could, for the 80% guys, you could probably begin to guess what pace this is heading towards now. But yeah, I can't perform the Meowser skip in the last level, which does lose me about a minute or two. But apart from that, it's pretty much even from here on out. Yeah, I mean, I can tell you that most of your times are pretty wrong. But I will actually reveal ahead of time, there is one person who's had a guess so far, who's only 6 seconds off the final time. So, again, it's up to you whether or not you want to look through the Discord, but one of you was very close, so I think there's a clear winner in terms of who I'm going to pin the comment on. But yeah, the final Motley fight, and this is a lot harder than the other one because, yeah, the gold rings really get in the way, as able to take him down quite quickly on the first hit, which is good. Sometimes he just ends up running around the whole thing and it loses you a lot of time. And yeah, that was quite poor, to be honest. But yeah, we'll see what the final time is at the end. But yeah, one of you is extremely close to it. As we enter the pipe pit, not the best run. Like again, we saw in 6-C I was able to do it in 83, and theoretically I can probably get the same time here as we get an 87. We actually avoid it just about with an 11 ending, so an 88. But yeah, again, quite a solid level still as we enter the last Histocrat fight. So yeah, at this point, it's getting close to whether or not it will be sub 2 or not. So, I mean, that was my aim, to try to get as close to sub 2 as possible, and to see if it's possible without doing the warps. I definitely think if you add the warp in 1-2, you can probably knock a bit more time off. But, yeah. Yeah, I know. I probably should have gone for the same time in both the Endimmer, but yeah, I didn't really have time today when I was finishing it up. But I'll definitely do that if I do make a remake of this. Wow, 325 is really good, yeah. As we just tidy up Histocrat. Again, I used to think you had to do it from the side, but you can do it from the back as well. Just like Luigi can. And yeah, Mario is actually not too bad on the Histocrat fights. I used to think he was a lot worse than I gave him credit for. And we collect the star, and we sort of whiffed the ending of it, but I can assure you, Endimmer, both my Histocrats were exactly the same time, so hopefully that makes up for it. They were both 61s, so we pick up the timer again. I could probably go for 60s in both of them, but I mean, avoiding fireworks is the main thing, I suppose. Yeah, they're exactly the same. So as I said, I got the same time on both Histocrats. So yeah, you're right to point that out, Brandy. So yeah, we're entering the final level now, which is the Great Tower of Meowsland. And Yandima tells me that his best splits in any percent are about 4 minutes 10. I can assure you we're not going to get a 4-minute 10 here because we can't do the skips. But yeah, I mean I've got 444 in 3-B with Rosalina, but yeah. Yeah, I mean they are different colors. You are right, but the fight's pretty much the same. And yeah, the run's been quite good until now, Jordan. I mean, I think if I gave myself another week, I could probably knock off a bit more time still. But you know, it's still a long way ahead of world records. Spoilers, and yeah, I felt it was quite good. As again, we make sure we land on the slope to cancel the ending lag, but sort of probably lost a bit of time there. Slipping a bit too far. But yeah, again, this bully section, quite easy to sort of traverse. But I mean, the good thing about Mario Percent is once you've done with 8- Mystery House, it's pretty much chill from there to the end of the run. So because we don't really have to go for candle strats, we don't have to go for Meowser skip. So the ending isn't too tight, to be honest, and yeah, squeezing in some angled long jumps right at the end, and yeah, we could basically just chill out for the last bit. So you're gonna see me mucking around on the tower climb, just sort of celebrating what this run was really. And no, I'm not going for Meowser skip Luigi Master. No. Yeah, I don't know. I might do it in tomorrow's race. It depends. If I am more than 15 minutes behind the Hex, or because I made a deal with him that if I was more than 15 minutes behind him, I'd have to do 243. And yeah, let's just say if I'm more than if I'm more than 15 minutes behind, I'm definitely gonna have to do Meowser skip in order to salvage some time at the end. Yeah, I mean, I'm quite confident that I don't have to do 243 after this Hex, you know. I mean, if I can even get within 5-10 minutes of this time, tomorrow, in any percent, which has both warps, then I think I should not lose the bet, but not win the bet at the same time. Yeah, Jordan, at this rate, you probably might beat me. I spent way too much time on the segmented run. I literally have no practice for any percent. But it should still be fun tomorrow. And I mean, I could definitely call my first any percent a blind run, which would be cool. But yeah, I mean, if there's any if there's anyone who was here at the beginning of the stream, you might want to just tell them that we're entering the end, because I think part of the big reveal is the final time. So I'll definitely be saying the final time over the server as well. But yeah, it's definitely quite nice to see it in person, I think. Yeah, I'm sure you will beat me, Yandima. Like, you know, I would need a run which is, you know, more optimized for any percent than this is to beat you, I think. But yeah, I think, yeah, at this rate, Hex is the closest. I mean, any percent runners can probably tell at this point what my final time will be. I mean, the reason... I mean, I did show this because Yandima helped me an awful lot. I did show him a preview of this on Tuesday. And back then it was a 1:59:40. Oh, sorry, spoilers. It was a 1:59:48. So it was the sub 2, which at this point is fairly obvious we're gonna get. And I was able to make a lot of amendments since then, so it is a lot lower than just under sub 2. But yeah, I wasn't able to make as many amendments as I thought today. So Yandima's hopeful 1:57 wasn't quite as optimistic as I'd wanted. So we're gonna see. And yeah, I think at this point we all know who the closest guess was, as we could go towards the top of the tower and get rid of Meowser once and for all. And this was a really good ending, I think. Only 1 second off my best individual level here, which, considering Rosalina saves quite a lot of time on this level, I was quite happy about. I think it's probably the best run I've done on this level. I haven't really focused on this level in the past though, But as we finish the run, thank you guys for enduring the whole thing. Yeah, the commentary was probably a bit all over the place, but hopefully the run spoke for itself. As yeah, Hex, you will, if you do make a comment on this video, I will pin it. No matter what the comment is, as long as YouTube doesn't redact it. And yeah, Yandema pretty much spot on with the final time. As we pick up a timer just for good measure. And yeah, thank you, Jordan. And everyone's listening in their last minute guesses. Will Yandema be right or will Glock be right? As we stop on a 1:58.41. The actual time is a 1:58.42.67. I did start the splits about 1.5 seconds early, so shoot me. But yeah, Yandema is exactly right in terms of the live split here, and it will be not just a sub 2, it'll be a sub 1:59. And yeah, still, I mean, I think eventually I want to push this category to even being a sub 2 without save skips, so that would be a 1:57.22. But I still really think there's a lot more time to save. But Hex, yeah, you were 5 seconds off. 6 seconds off the exact time, I think. But yeah, you're literally within 5 seconds. So brilliant guess there. And yeah, well done. What can I say? So yeah. But I'm glad that it was a bit lower than most of your guesses. I mean, I would have been a bit worried if all of you were guessing in the 1:57s. So at least I was able to hopefully give a pleasant surprise with a sub 2. But yeah, that is Mario percent. Of course, no items, no cat suits, of course, no warps, and yeah, I will be chilling in the 3D World voice call after this run. So if you guys want to ask me any questions, that'll be fine. And yeah, just talk about the any percent race tomorrow, really. I will try to squeeze in some practice for any percent. Now this is behind me. I mean, there was a reason why I wanted to try to get this done today, just so I could focus on the race a bit tomorrow. But yeah, that is the run, and yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed as we watch out the end credits here. And luckily there wasn't I think I said 20 viewers. I think I might have changed it to 10 or 20 or 25. I'll look back to see what I did say, but I think I said I'll do Meows a skip if I got more than 20 viewers. And to be honest, I was probably talking a lot of stuff. But yeah, I will definitely go for some of these skips tomorrow. But I do want to try to get a good banker as well. Because of course I can't be losing to Jordan tomorrow. Nah, joking. I mean, I think it would be a really good race. As we finish up. And yeah, thank you once again for staying. And yeah, as I said, I'll post the final time on the server. And hopefully it can be proved soon enough. And as I said before, I will be going on the Maribescent grind next week. I want to get the 212. And you can see the world record is already 1:58.41 by me. So I'll see if I can improve on that one record. No, just joking. I'll see if I can drop it down from 212. I mean, that's really my aim. And yeah, thank you once again for streaming, for tuning into the stream, and I really appreciate it. So yeah, see you guys.